Something that school did not prepare me for coming into internship.
Apparently nothing. He was super prepared. BCIT,
Yeah.
marketing communications, go
Boom.
into the program and they'll prepare you for every single situation
Every single
that you'll
thing.
face
Yeah.
in the industry.
Danielle, I hope you're hearing this. Thank you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the last episode of Between
The
Two
last
Interns. My God,
Mm-hmm.
what a time.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
When you mentioned that it was the last episode, a part of me was like, oh, like how did that come so fast? Yeah.
Do you feel like it flew by really fast?
Yeah.
And next week, which is when this episode will come out, is our last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this episode today, we thought it would be appropriate to do just like a bit of a recap on like what our experience was like, and really to share like the highs and lows of like our own internship with the rest of the office.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
highs and lows.
Highs and lows.
If you could pick one high during your internship for the past 9-10 weeks, what would you pick? What was
Honestly-
that moment?
Honestly, maybe the first day where we spent like, what was that? I think like
Seriously?
an hour and a half at lunch. I know that's nothing to do with the internship, but it was, I don't know, it was just cool and lax. I think a great way to like segue into what we were doing, especially the project that was introduced to us as well, the Proactive.
And what was the project that was introduced?
For McDonald's, a campaign, and it was just a really cool space where it's just like the beginning of brainstorming and kind of just leaning into the work after
Yeah,
spending...
for sure. Like that was pretty crazy because imagine like you're not even finished school yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like first day into the industry and you're sitting at a table and they go, okay, so you're working on McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
No pressure or anything, just the biggest fast food chain in the world.
Yeah,
No pressure.
so exciting.
So yeah, like that was pretty crazy moment for sure.
Yeah.
For me, I think that one of the highs or like the one biggest moment during my internship was submitting the first RFP. And I think that process was so crazy because what happened was when we would typically have like a week or so to put together all the information, we only had like 2 days to do that, which is like insane. And I think that was just a really great feeling to like submit that.
Yeah, really rewarding after.
Yeah, because it reminded me of like BCIT. Honestly, like submitting deadlines just like the hour or even like 20 minutes before it closes.
Yeah.
Like just that feeling of like adrenaline almost.
Yeah.
And then when you hit submit, you're like, oh, thank God. Yeah.
Fair enough.
And
Yeah.
all that stress just comes like crashing down once you hit submit.
Yeah, no, I definitely can think of like it's the ripping through the ribbon, the hoorah, finish line moment.
Yeah, when you hit submit on your term project
Oh,
you've
yeah.
been working
Oh,
on
no, no,
for
no.
like 3 months.
Or even when you're closing all the tabs just after you've done it.
Yeah, exactly.
Best feeling.
Yeah, oh my God.
You could do it the lazy way where you close window, but I like to soak it in, close each tab
Each
individually.
one. Every single one. So that was a high.
Mm-hmm.
What is a low that you experienced during the past several weeks?
Well, you realize it's fairly natural because we go back to school on Mondays and you hear about the other interns' experience, but it was imposter syndrome, honestly.
Okay. When did you feel that?
Maybe just about like, I think it was like 2 weeks in. It probably I think it's something that you're always, like whenever you're new to a position, it's something that you're going to have to overcome. That was actually some great advice from Max where he was saying that it's always something to develop on, and that it's just a continuous growth process. And hearing that was quite almost like relieving because it's just
I didn't even know you felt that. Like, what was the moment when you're like, oh, I feel like I shouldn't be here or something?
But it was just like questioning. It's just like, what, like maybe I don't know as much as I did at all, and just like wondering if you're like when somebody asks you a question and it's just like, oh, like you kind of lose all the answers that you assumed you might have, but it's like a bit of believing your own.
What were you working on that like, was it more of like a gradual feeling, or was there like something you're working on that like you really struggled with?
I think it was just a couple of projects. It wasn't one specific one, but it was just like the feeling of like I don't have the answers and feeling a bit lost in that. And yeah, just kind of just especially when we only have such a short amount of time, it's like 9 weeks, you really want to show as much as you can. But then part of doing that is just like you're not accepting that you don't have some of the answers, which is entirely natural. So I think just like navigating the roads or just being like, I can wear the student cap because I essentially am here as an intern. Just kind of relieving yourself in that. And then it's just great coming back to school on Mondays where it's just like you hear that like 3 other people be saying like, dude, same thing for me. And it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? For sure. Like, do you feel like you've overcome that feeling of imposter syndrome yet? Or
so it was interesting. It started off with where I really wanted to show that I was capable and I really wasn't asking the right questions, and then I realized that quickly, and then I try to implement like that self-awareness and move into the next stage.
Did you say asking the right questions?
Yeah, and then I began asking the right questions, but I think I wore the student
What are the
cap.
right questions? Like, how would you define when a question is the right question?
I think, well, the scenario where it would come the most would be like it just depends on the processes of your teammates or the organization, and you can't really have those answers, and it just makes sense to ask. Or if it's something that you've never done before, and just realizing that that's not something you were taught in school, so it's fair. And in those situations,
kind of a funny question, but what was one dumb question you asked? Did you even ask one?
I actually, Max was sharing with me the power of asking dumb questions, so it's something that I actually try to like.
Have you asked one recently?
Hopefully, because I think that.
So you don't feel like you have, though?
I think I did ask dumb questions, but like I think they're reasonable and they made sense. You know, like they're necessary dumb questions.
Okay.
To gauge the conversation further, and yeah.
A low for me. I kind of thought for a bit if I should like really say this or not, but it comes with the job. But a low for me was revising an 80-page copy deck. That was the low until today. I was revising a 100-page copy deck.
Okay. But the 80-page copy deck was still the low, as opposed to.
It was the low until that was the low I had in my mind. Until the 100 one, and then I was like, So next week, what is it? 120?
Yeah. 120. Yeah. And in a couple of years, boom, you'll be at 600, no problem.
600-page copy deck. 100 deliverables.
Yeah.
If anything, like, I have not been through the worst with those copy decks. It would be the copywriters. So props to them. I think one of the things that school did not prepare me for was 30-minute conversations about whether or not we should use uppercase or lowercase or title case for 3 words, which is something that happened today. And I think it was definitely like a serious topic, but I think just the absurdity of having such a long conversation about something so small was something I wasn't expecting myself to do.
Something that for me that I must say internship didn't prepare me for, something that school did not prepare me for coming into internship,
apparently nothing. He was super prepared. BCIT, marketing communications, go into the program and they'll prepare you for every single situation that you'll face in the industry.
Danielle, I hope you're hearing this. Thank you.
Danielle Wilson is our program head. Thank you. Shout out to Danielle.
Yeah, shout out to Danielle.
Okay, it's fine if you have nothing.
No.
Then
sorry,
good for you. Good for you. Unlike the rest of us humans.
No, there is. I'm just trying to pick like what represented my experience the most. For me, it was, and it makes sense that school can't prepare you for it because it's like just like almost softer skills that you need to learn in an agency, but it's just like recognizing the different departments and recognizing the scope of each and kind of knowing your scope within that and how you play a part in the agency's dynamic. That is something that school can't prepare you for, and it was really interesting.
One of the things I always find really interesting is seeing like the dynamic between like accounts creative
Yeah.
strategy and studio,
Yeah.
and kind of seeing the dynamic there is like really interesting.
It is.
Yeah. And not to say that like there is conflict, because essentially like everyone like works together, right, towards a common goal, but sometimes when there is like a bit of tension, like it's super interesting to see like the different perspectives that like each of those departments have.
Yeah. Because it is
like the rationale for like pushing back.
Yeah, but it's always like that tension is like what I realize is it's so necessary though, because it's like each department doing their job, and it is the overall goal that they have is common.
I feel like that's something both like we were never really taught, right? Like how like sometimes there could be some tension there, but essentially like the campaign would benefit from it still.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up today's episode, or rather, we're going to wrap up the last episode of Between Two Interns with one piece of advice we would give to future Cossette interns. I have to think about this one, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, if you could give one piece of advice to future Cossette interns, what would you give? To next year's interns, actually.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, hopefully.
If you're watching this in 2023,
mm-hmm.
If you're watching this in 2023, this is our advice to you.
Okay, the first one I'd have is I really benefited from having a coffee chat with Joy from Accounts. Thank you, Joy. And Scott from Creative. Thank you, Scott. It kind of touched on like how something that school can't prepare you for is just like the interagency kind of just like dynamics, and just getting an idea of the scope of each department is really beneficial, just so you see like how much of a role each part plays, and just seeing like what the end-to-end processes is. It's really beneficial, just giving you an idea of like what your role is as well, depending on whatever department it is that you join. That'd be my advice.
Cool. So like setting up coffee chats with people
in each department, yeah. And quickly too. Yeah, because you can, like what I did, gradually just come to learning, and then I had the coffee chats. But if you just do it right off the bat, I think that you'll set yourself up.
If you have like, say next year's interns are like pretty shy and they don't like want to seem dumb, what's advice
like
you would?
Me,
oh really? Would you say that?
Well, yeah. At first I was just like,
shy?
I want to show all of my abilities, but it's just like, dude, no, you could just ask questions. And yeah, I guess I'm a little bit shy.
Really? Okay, I didn't get that at all. Okay.
Yeah.
What's an advice you would give to someone if they're like a little apprehensive or like shy about reaching out for coffee chats? Because like you're reaching out to like the creative director of the agency.
It was actually Max that set it up for me, which is my supervisor this year. Yeah, he set him up. So I guess just ask whoever your sponsor is to do it. Just let them know how much you think you'll benefit from it.
For me, I would say, because I also did set up like several coffee chats throughout the internship, I would say just go for it. Because like if you just go for it, reach out like politely, like you might be surprised at like how patient and like willing people are to like give you their time. Because even if you just set up like 15 minutes, like those 15 minutes could be like super insightful.
Yeah.
As long as you're like open and like curious about them. For sure. And I think that's like a super great segue into like my one piece of advice I would give future Cossette interns. It's that to be curious about people beyond their job title. So when I set up like my own coffee chats, it was really cool like hearing about like what got them into this role, and seeing like what inspires them to stay in this industry, because I think it's tough. So for me, it was super cool to see, just like ask these people who work at the agency, like, what drives you day in, day out? Like, what inspires you daily, even if they're not a creative even if they're not in creative.
Yeah.
I think everyone who works in this industry is a creative person. So being interested about who people are beyond just their job title and asking like what inspires them on a daily basis is something that was super insightful to me.
But yeah, how did that benefit you believe though?
Seeing where people come from, like the different backgrounds, I think that helps with like that feeling of imposter syndrome if you do have it, because you have people who have like an English major background or people who come from like a more modest background, or maybe people who've gone through so many different like paths in their lives, which aren't even related to advertising, but still like end up here. Yeah. And I think that makes me feel so much better as someone who did like a career shift a couple of years ago.
Okay. One thing I might share, I think it's a fun fact. We actually hardly knew each other before this internship started.
That's where you're going. Okay.
I thought that was a fun fact. Yeah, I wanted to add that at the beginning. But yeah, what did we talk? Maybe like twice before internship?
Sure. Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay. What was your first impression of me?
You asked me this before. I'm a blank canvas. I don't know.
Okay, so he had no first impression of me. I'll share my first impression of Eric. I thought Eric was super quiet. I really wanted to do a podcast like during my internship instead of like a weekly newsletter, just because I thought it was more fun. But honestly, I wasn't sure if it would work with Eric.
I don't know where,
because he seemed like a shy person in class, so I was like, oh, I don't know if it's gonna work out. Like, I don't want to have to carry the podcast or anything. Like, is it gonna be boring if I do it? I
remember putting my hand up a lot. I thought that I was pretty expressive in class.
Oh, I don't know.
No, I mean, I guess that just goes to show you're, I don't know, kind of at the center of your own universe kind of thing.
Me?
No. Just like each individual is at the center of their own universe. And in my mind, I was like,
I'm self-centered? Is that your first impression of me?
Each person is at the center of their own universe. And in my mind, I thought I was quite...
Okay.
I thought I participated a lot. But
sure, we can go with that.
Let them believe that, okay, guys. I engage. Ow, man. Yeah, I engage.
What's a message you want to give to our viewers, our coworkers, for the past 8 to 10 weeks?
If you've watched a full episode, I thank you.
Thank you so much. You're the real champion.
You are the real champ if you're sticking around. Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you. Everybody here is super kind, super nice. Shout outs to Max and Amandine. They've been super helpful in this whole process. I think I grew so much. What was it? 9 weeks.
Yeah.
The amount of growth after that is just incredible.
Also, I just want to thank everyone who even clicked on this video. Thank you so much for supporting this tiny little project of ours. We hope that people at least benefited somewhat from it, got some ideas, or if you laughed once during any of our podcasts, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. That makes me so happy. That makes my heart very full. But yeah, like Eric, I do want to thank everyone from the business leadership and delivery team, especially Neha, Joy, and Aranza. You guys have been super awesome in mentoring me over the past 10 weeks. And I'm really looking forward to working continuing to work with everyone in the business leadership team.
She'll learn English better before she starts. It's fine.
Before May 30th, I'll learn English better.
It'll be boot camp for pronunciation. We'll do that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for sticking with us between two interns.
Sticking between two.
Wow. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and keeping update with the two interns of Cossette. Maybe this won't be the last time we see you, but I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.